All right, first up is Rob Mills. I'm going to introduce Rob by doing this, playing just a little snippet from his current production, and I think you'll identify it.
Oh, no, don't even try. It's not going to work.
I'm not doing it. Oh, Molly, my darling, I've come before your touch. Oh, such a long, lonely time.
It's not working.
Time goes by so slowly, and time can do so much.
Well, my first guest is a born entertainer. He's a popular singer, presenter, actor, and media personality. Yep, he's done it all in a very short space of time. He's carved a career in around a decade. And by the way, he's a Hawthorn supporter. So for those who follow Hawthorn, I'm sure you'll have a bit of a laugh at that listening online at the moment. Rob Mills came to national attention back in 2003 as a finalist on the first series of Australian Idol. Soon after signing with BMG, he went on to other great things as well. He's played in Wicked, Greased, Legally Blonde. He had a cabaret show. The list goes on and on. His bio is huge. He's a star who you would think had made possibly all of that career possible in some 40 years. But no, it's taken him much, much less time than that. He's now starring in the blockbuster Ghost, the musical. He plays Sam, and he's on the line right now to have a chat and for you to listen to him too. Great to have you with us, Rob. Welcome in.
Yeah, thanks for having me, mate. How are you?
I'm doing well. Nice to have you with us. I'm going to say you had a performance last night. You must be exhausted. I appreciate you getting out of bed so early.
Oh, no, it's fine. Absolutely fine, mate. Absolutely fine. For you, anything.
Rob, you're a...
Did I hear you just say that you don't like summer? You don't like the heat?
No, I don't. No.
Oh,
Do you?
I love it. Yeah, I live in Sydney now, and I live right near the beach, and I love nothing better than being able to get up in the morning and jump in the water and have a little snorkel. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Down there at Bondi, eh?
Oh no, not at all, mate. That's full of posers of Bondi. I'm in Clovelly. It's another quiet little suburb.
I think you might be right.
Off the track a little bit, yeah.
Mate, when it gets to 25 or 28, that's enough for me. Over 30, I shrivel up.
Well, luckily we haven't had too much heat this summer.
Well, Rob, I feel sorry for the people who love summer because down here in Melbourne, as you know, working here lately, we have not had a summer yet. We've had a couple of days of 40, but that's all. It's been very, very cool, and all the experts said it was going to be a heat wave.
Mate, it was lovely in Adelaide, I've got to say.
Yes, yes.
We were in Adelaide the first, I suppose, from Christmas, basically.
Yeah.
And I had a great time in Adelaide. I stayed near the beach, and it was gorgeous. It didn't get to, I think there was a few days of 40, but I don't know, for some reason it didn't translate over here in Melbourne.
No, well, you got in the high 30s, and I think it was 40, 42, 43, something in Adelaide over Christmas and New Year, and boy, oh boy, we didn't get that here. No, I think it might have bypassed and gone to Sydney or someplace.
No, it's okay.
I'm sure we'll get by.
There'll be next year, mate.
Oh, my word, there will be. And we've got winter coming on in just 6 months, so
and winter means football, so that's exciting.
Yes, Hawthorn.
We had a win last night. I heard you talk about the Hawks.
Yeah, a Hawthorn supporter, mate. Yeah.
We had a win last night.
Yep.
Good start to the NAB Challenge. Not that the NAB Challenge really means much, but it's good to see the young kids out there having a kick.
Well, it's a good warm-up, Rob, isn't it?
Oh, I love it.
It really is.
In the interval during the show, I had a quick look at the game. So,
did you really? Yeah. So tell me, that's interesting. What do you do during an interval? Now, you have 20 minutes. You must go back, get the makeup done again and things like that and cool off. But you went to the TV, did you?
Yeah, mate. If the footy's on, I'll be watching football.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll play guitar. Like I'll chat with Dave and Gemma and whoever just pops into my dressing room and we have a bit of a chat. I remember during Legally Blonde, Cameron Daddo and I had a big dressing room in Sydney, and just by, per chance, there's one big dressing room at the Lyric Theatre in Sydney.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to get it. Anyway, it turned out to be like this party room, which was great. So every interval there'd be snacks and lollies, and we'd get the guitars out and we'd have a bit of a jam. And yeah, so it depends on the show, I suppose. But this show, I'm pretty exhausted, so I stay pretty quiet.
Rob, I was saying to Gemma last week, I had her on the program too, that it's very, very energetic. You and Gemma are on that stage about 95% of the time.
Yeah, it really is a full-on show. It's probably the toughest show I've had to do acting-wise, and I know I'm pretty sure for Gemma as well. You know, she's got a lot of big belty songs. I know she did Wicked for 8 years. I mean, anyone that can bust out Defying Gravity 8 times a week for 8 years is, she's got cords of steel, that girl.
Yeah.
But this is, I think, for her and I, both our toughest acting challenge.
Yeah. Well, look, it's a phenomenal show, and it just goes and goes and goes, and it just doesn't stop. Tell me about your early career. What influenced you to go on to Australian Idol?
Mate, I was singing in pubs here in Melbourne. I was doing like 3 or 4 nights a week, playing at the old Notting Hill Hotel. On a Thursday, I was in the city. On a Friday, the Anglican Tavern in Maribyrnong on the river there. On a Saturday night, and I was at the Red Eagle on a Sunday. And a friend of mine from high school had said, was I 20? Just about to turn 21. Mm-hmm. She said, there's a show that's just started in America last year. It's called American Idol. They're going to do it here. You should audition. I was like, what for? She was like, you never know. I was like, you're right. You never know. You do never know. So I went in there, and after doing 2 shows the night before, 2 gigs the night before, sorry. So I'd finished about 4 in the morning at Breakers Hotel in Preston.
Yep.
And then I rock up to the audition, and I don't know, just you obviously feel quite confident. You've got your adrenaline going after a show, and I've been doing it for 3 or 4 years, like live gigs. So I thought I could probably, auditions are basically that. You're just standing in front of people and singing. So, and I did pretty well, and I got through the next round, and then I kept going, and got to go on my first ever plane ride at 21 to Sydney, which was pretty exciting for a young kid from the Burbs.
My word.
Going on a plane. I know a lot of people go on planes a lot earlier these days, but I was 21. I was like, this is pretty exciting. Stayed in a hotel for my first time. And
yeah. It's a whole experience, isn't it?
Oh, mate, absolutely. It was a far cry from the caravan parks I stayed in as a kid. So.
Yes. Well, see, in those days, that's all your mum and dad possibly could afford to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And mate, I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean,
yeah. Yep.
That's just the way that we grew up. We never went without my family at all. But I wouldn't say we were poor, but at the same time, we were certainly not. We certainly weren't wealthy. But as I said, we never went without. There was always food on the table, and there was a bike. There was always a bike for Christmas if there was one. So. Yeah,
that's lovely. Santa bought a bike, and it was beautiful. I mentioned in the intro there, you've been in Wicked. You've done so many shows in such a very, very short space of 10 or 13 years or something, isn't it? And the time has just gone by so quickly. You've been one of those actors, I think, who's been very fortunate, being not out of work.
Yeah, man. I think I've just been. You're right. I think I have been very fortunate. Touch wood that it continues. I think it's came into musical theatre maybe at the right time, and that role really spoke. The role of Fiero really spoke true to me. He was this character who was. He sings a song called "Dancing Through Life." Mm-hmm. No need to tough it when you can slough it off as I do. There's no need to try hard when you can just sort of just cruise through life. And literally, that's what I was doing. I was cruising through life, this character. And I was like, that's me. I am this guy. I have to get this part. So I worked really hard. Like, au contraire, I didn't cruise through life. I worked my bum off and took acting lessons and singing lessons and some dance classes as well to make sure that I was ready to go for that audition.
Yeah.
And I think it proved to myself that I could do it. And ever since then, I think, if you want something, you really have to work. You really have to work hard for it. It's not just going to happen.
Yeah, you're right, aren't you?
So I mean, I was lucky enough to get through to, the top 5 of Idol all those years ago. But that didn't come without just trying hard as well. But I noticed that when I didn't try, nothing was coming my way.
Yeah.
I was like, I better put some work in.
You've got to put it in, yeah. Well, of course, from Australian Idol, you got that record contract, and of course that started everything off for you, didn't it? It was a great start.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I got to work with some incredible songwriters. Phil Buckle being one of them, from I suppose some Southern Sons fame. You probably remember him.
Yes.
He's penned Hold Me in Your Arms and You Were There and Heart in Danger and all those great songs from from the 90s. And so I wrote a couple of great songs with him and another guy called Paul Wilshire, and who's now producing albums over in LA. And yeah, some great songwriters I got to work with. And some of the songs didn't make the album. I was like, well, but they're still great. Got to tell some really good little stories of mine. And did a tour from Cairns all the way down to Melbourne, and did quite well. Had quite, I would say moderate success. I think the album sold about 30,000 copies, which these days is bloody good.
Yeah, my word.
You can sell that many.
Yeah, fantastic.
But I think back in the day, it has to be platinum or above. I think for you to keep your contract. So they dropped me, unfortunately. But at the same time, I don't think I was ready to be an artist as such, but I still just love performing.
You felt you had that growing up to do first, did you, and learning the business?
Absolutely, mate. Yeah. I think for the people that, I look at Guy. He was 22 and I was 21 when we did the show. He was quite well rounded and really knew who he was as a person at 22. I don't know whether that came from his belief system in the church or just his upbringing. But I certainly didn't quite know who I was as a person at 21 at all. I think it took me a few years. I'd probably say at least 5 years, maybe till I was about 26. And even now, I'm still trying to fit the pieces together, mate. I think we all are.
Well, I tell you what, Rob, you've done a fantastic job, and to have done so many shows as you have done, and become so popular. I mean, to say you just loved right around Australia, and and people can't get enough of seeing you. And I know that from listening to the audience, even during the interval and so on, all talking about you and Gemma, and particularly you. You seem to be the heartthrob of all these ladies, and
I do have to take my top off, so I'm still looking out of it.
And the way you do that guitar, I just play that little grab there that I got of you and the guitar, and you come out there just, doing this beautiful little interlude with Gemma. It just works so well. Rob, what's next for you? You got another show lined up?
Mate, I've got some writing to do. Like last year, I knew that Greece was finishing up, and I didn't have anything to follow it that was concrete. So I said to a friend of mine about a year and a half ago, do you want to help me write a cabaret show?
Yep.
She's like, I've never written a cabaret show, Rob. She's a comedy writer. I was like, yeah, but you can. She's like, yeah, I can. I thought we'll try. We ended up writing a little show called Rob Mills is Surprisingly Good, which I toured all around the country last year.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Which was fantastic. So I think I'm catching up with her next week. We're going to sit down and we're going to run through a few more ideas and maybe try and flesh out another show. And then some more TV and film acting, to be honest, mate. I really enjoyed my little spot on the Peter Allen telly movie last year.
Yes.
Getting to work with, the likes of the greats of, Rebecca Gibney and Sigrid Thornton, and also, upcoming superstar Joel Jackson, who just did an incredible job as Peter.
He's going to be great, isn't he?
Oh, mate, he already is. Like, he really is. His work ethic is just tremendous. I've never seen someone so young have it all together. I really like. I've got like a little brother now, or almost like a big brother. He's a giant, but I think that really inspired me to go. Well, maybe I can do this. I can, if I work a bit harder, I could probably. I'm going to keep auditioning for other TV shows and other, hopefully some more film as well. That would be great.
Well, Rob, I wish you well. You've got
Thanks,
a fantastic musical there at the moment in Melbourne, the Regent Theatre. It's playing for another couple of weeks. I think another 3 to go from memory. My daughter's heading there next Saturday night to see you with a couple of friends. So I do wish you well, pal, in what comes up. We look around for the cabaret, look on stage and screen for you in the future too, and I do wish you well.
Thanks, mate. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for your time, pal. Okay, bye-bye to you. There he is, Rob Mills, a great actor, and a lot coming his way too. More